How about that? Is that better? Actually, is the desktop audio picking up? Oh no. Let's see. Wait, the desktop audio is picking up? I'm confused. There's music playing right now, so you would definitely hear it. Hang on. Okay, there we go. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. That makes a lot of sense why that was happening. Yeah, just my audio. My audio's being fucky. I don't know.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox,
Okay,
and
cool.
the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
I have something here we could sell. Look in the back, in the suspect transport enclosure.
Transport enclosure. Regular people just call it the cage. The cage at the back of the motor carriage looks rather uncomfortable. 4 shiny hubcaps are stacked against the seat. Their silver edges sparkle in the dark.
Ooh.
I confiscated these for a little while back. We can take them to the pawn shop down by the Martinez Canal.
What are those things?
There are spinner hubcaps, frivolous things you put on your wheels. When the wheels come to a stop, the caps keep on spinning. There's no real use for them, it's just for vanity.
Okay, but they're cool as hell, is what you're saying.
Honestly, that sounds like an amazing physics demonstration.
Is this something about a pawn shop?
Yes, there's one 100 meters south of here. I think it's called Roy's Nest or something. If I'm not mistaken, it should be open late.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate your help.
The lieutenant nods as you take the spinners.
Pretty sure this is like civil asset forfeiture. Ooh. Plastic wrapped macaroni stamped with humanitarian aid. Humanitarian aid tuna fish, not for resale. Roy's Pawn Shop. Fast cash. 1-800-CARS for kids. All this stuff. Some kind of machine, an anti-cash register. In the dark, a film projector is whirring away. A bust of a woman. The plaque simply says, "Day." I thought that said "die" for a second. Most military are with a few more eccentric fashions thrown in. Like a...
Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Beneath him are the words, Hyundai burning.
What's the deal with the man on this t-shirt?
It's the man from Hyundai.
Walking away from his burning village. Yes.
Their matter-of-fact tone belies their surprise at the fact that you didn't recognize the figure in the print.
Remind me, who's the man from Heimdall again?
The man from Yelmdal is the hero of a series of popular books based on a fictional version of Kotler. Mostly what is nowadays ARDA NFD. In fact, most people don't think that man from Yelmdal ever really existed. But they are wrong.
They're wrong. That man's a fucking legend.
Hyundai isn't a real place.
Neither is the man a real man, of course. But both the man and Hjelmdal are an ontological necessity. But hey, it's not worth getting into an argument about.
Smells like worn cotton and a little old sweat there.
Gross.
Worn cotton with a side of flea market or trash bin.
Sniffing is okay, but please don't try anything on. Can't have you leaving your photon emissions in the fabric of things you're not going to buy.
You're not imagining it. Photon emissions? What is he talking about?
What the fuck, man? This guy's wild. What do you mean the man from Heimdall's real?
I mean, even if the man from Heimdall didn't exist before the adventure novels, the stories have made it so that he has. It's simple, really.
Oh. Okay, that does make sense, actually.
Okay.
You sound skeptical. It's not that complicated. All that's required is a more robust understanding of cause and effect. Besides, I've been to Kotla, though not quite as far north as the Heimdall, and watched northern lights travel across the sky. Very unique, energetic tides there.
Very, very unique energies indeed. Geomagnetic ley lines, one might even say.
2 real.
That's dirt cheap.
Cool.
You should.
I'm gonna buy this cool as hell t-shirt.
Welcome to Heimdall, officer.
Hell yeah.
A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps. The light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has been redone and attached to a standard indoor plug. The light buzzes faintly, but persistently.
Did you steal a street light?
Yes, officer. As you see, it's in perfect working order.
His manner is casual, but his speech is careful, measured. He wants you to know that he has nothing to hide.
Where did you get this?
It was brought to me to be altered.
We are not here to investigate the theft of city property. You have to admit it's rather clever what he's done with it.
What else is in here?
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All are stern and unyielding in their duty. Try to find something pretty and cool here, then use it to win her back.
Win her back?
Yes, buy something nice. A figurine. Why? What's this? A headless man riding a horse? A headless man wearing futuristic tracksuit trousers that say found.
What does it mean?
Oh, that's the Headless Phone Rider.
Who?
The Headless Phone Rider. It's an urban legend about a man who rides the streets of Revachol sporting a fawn tracksuit. As you see, he's missing his head.
So he's like a headless guy that wears Adidas.
50
Got
cents. Bargain price. I'll throw in the tiny cap too. I think he's looking for it, or something. That part of the story has many interpretations.
Fuck, let's do it.
Did I mention that this figurine is supposed to be lucky? Always carry it with you.
Cool.
Big men on big horses, clad in lamella armor and carrying flintlocks. The kind that would mow down a line of enemy soldiers in the blink of an eye.
Who are they?
Franco-Nigerian knights. I used to be very serious about these guys.
A long, long time ago. They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and caps, complemented by orange trousers. They are variously posed, wielding swords and rifles with bayonets.
Are these royalist soldiers?
Which ones? Ah, those. Yes, they are. I find the paint job a bit gaudy, but children like the bright colours indiscriminately.
This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive. A few have rifles, but most of them carry pistols. Some even shovels and tall sticks.
Are these even soldiers?
You're probably talking about the revolutionaries, yes? Yes, they are soldiers, revolutionary soldiers. I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win.
meant to give people hope. Even we can do it. It's impossible to win against the cohorts of capital. Ask my friend Gart, whose bitch it made me. The contrast is meant to be disheartening, as it ought to be. I wish it was more nuanced. As it stands, I cannot comment.
Maybe.
Huh. Wild. Okay. Let's see, what kind of shirt are we wearing? Let's see. This was... Oh, yeah. Looking cool. Oh, yeah.
It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop. What can I do for you?
His courtesy is not insincere, but he prefers being alone with his projector, just watching the movement of light across the walls of the shop.
Sorry, I feel like I'm interrupting you.
Oh no, not at all. I guess I haven't had many customers lately, RCM or otherwise.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travelers, people looking for a deal, people looking for a keepsake, people who are terminally bored. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from.
Quite the collection. I may have something to add to it. Honestly, I think some of your typical vacuous consumerist objects, honestly, I think some of your selections are more tasteful than others. This business plan is all over the place. You should specialize, zoom in, recapitalize. Quite the collection.
It keeps me entertained.
He's well composed, but underneath it you sense psychedelic processes bubbling. Some kind of drug, maybe. Entertained? He might be high. If he is, on what?
Shut up, drug brain. Do you have any guns?
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
Hey, wait a minute.
What? Sold? The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another, alert.
Wait, I sold you my gun?
You were adamant about getting rid of it, officer. Said you were undeserving of a service weapon of the Revachol Citizens Militia. And I don't like keeping guns around the shop for long. Off the charts photon emissions. The unhealthy kind.
Alright then.
He's not telling you the whole story. It seems he's trying to spare you.
I feel like there's something you're not telling me.
You weren't quiet yourself, officer.
What was I like?
You were very distraught. You said the gun was a threat to your life and that you can't trust yourself with it tonight. And that you need the money. When I said that I don't normally buy firearms, you put the gun barrel in your mouth and sort of sucked on it. Then I agreed to take it.
It's a very distressing mental image.
You sucked on a gun? Good. Very normal. Very normal behavior. You must have been in great shape.
Wait, how much did I sell the gun for?
15 real.
15? What?
The lieutenant looks from you to Roy, and then back to you. It's clear that he hopes this tableau might still turn out to be a bad dream. It's not, though.
Hello.
This has got to be the most. Wow. There's pity there too, in case you didn't notice.
Oh, sorry you had to see me in that state.
No apologies necessary, officer.
Was the buyer a policeman too?
She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig, which was odd. I found her interest in the gun a bit obsessive, but I was just happy to get rid of it, and of her. Truth be told, she was terrifying.
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the Citizens Militia, and now a civilian is running around the streets of Martinez with it?
Miraculously. His face does not reveal what's happening inside.
I don't like it either. What if she intends to commit a crime? Maybe she's a vigilante, wants to prove she can do our jobs better than we can.
It's possible in these parts of town. We ought to find her and discourage her from taking justice into her own hands.
Have people from Everard Clare's union come here to track that gun?
Maybe. Shady looking guys came in here yesterday, looking like they'd just taken off their Wild Pines overalls. They asked if I have a police weapon to sell. I told them I already sold it. They went their way. It was a trip, but you know, all sorts of people come here, asking for all sorts of things.
Wait, then it might be true. Everard's claims.
Maybe Claire really is tracking down your gun.
Any idea where I can find this buyer?
My apologies, officer, but I have no idea where she was coming from or where she went.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it right now. You'll just have to hope Everard wasn't lying, and the Union can track her down in time.
At least I know how I lost my sidearm. Let's talk about something else.
Of course.
There's something I'd like to sell.
Yes, we'd like to sell these hubcaps.
Roy takes the hubcaps from the lieutenant and inspects them. The spinners
we're
appear
selling
iridescent in
vanity
the dancing
hubcaps
light
so that I
of his
can
pawn
pay
shop.
off my debt and stay the night and not die in the cold.
It's not just the fact that you have to do that, it's that you transitioned from so I
Yes,
blacked out and
these
sold
are
my
very,
gun
very
and
good.
somebody might be
Did you
committing
defraud
crimes
some
with
foreign
it.
prince for
Here,
them?
have these hubcaps
Jump
like that
and
never
miss,
happened.
banger.
Yep.
No matter. I'll give you 200 real.
No one was defrauded or jumped, I assure you.
Of course. I meant no offense. 200 real for you, officer. Delightful doing business with you. Do come again.
Thank you. Here's the 130 real you need for your bill. Do not waste it.
The windfall is a small consolation.
Anything else you're thinking of selling?
I have a fast... Wait.
Anything else you're thinking of selling?
Ooh.
How much is the pen worth?
135.
Is anything here worth more than 10 real? Nope.
Nope.
Another time, perhaps.
You might be able to aid our investigation.
I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have.
Know anything about the recent hanging?
I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery. Bad for business, bad for everyone.
No one likes to see what you have to see every day.
Think you could help me get a corpse out of a tree?
The corpse behind the hostel, I assume. I don't have a truck with a mounted platform or anything of that sort myself. Ask around the harbour. There might be some workers there who'd be willing to help.
Okay, that's all
The
I have.
pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
Okay, let's get out of here. A sewer grate, a gateway to a river of filth. Tasty.
Slurp, slurp.
Can I help you? Yes. Have you got it?
I have your money.
Well,
Here's 130 real. I hope you choke on it. Here it is. Sorry for the trouble.
great. Thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you continue to stay here, I just ask that you please pay your nightly bill in advance starting tomorrow. I'll unlock the electronic lock to your room. All the doors lock automatically at 9 p.m. Please pay for each night in advance starting tomorrow. 20 real per night.
I'll take a room here too.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything else I can do for you?
Goodbye.
So how much does it cost a night? 20?
20. So we have a skill
That's
point.
actually a lot. That actually sounds like a sudden lot of money.
Kind of seems like a lot of money, not gonna lie.
How do you prepare? How are you prepared to make 20 real a night if you can't even sell shit? Is this like Shenmue, where you can decide every once in a while to just suddenly do someone else's cargo work for half an hour and get paid?
Hmm. What should we level?
I mean, personally, I always personally think that there's value in your psyche skills, but your intellect is terribly low, and I feel like you would also benefit from knowing at least a basic thing. So I would
Yes.
say either authority, esprit de corps, or rhetoric or drama.
I see.
I think you need to have the capacity to engage in a conversation more interesting ways, or be better at presenting yourself in general.
Okay, we'll take rhetoric then.
Alternatively, you could just save up for a later date and just stack up your inland empire and see how well the universe speaks to you.
He's so Gucci. In a certain kind of way.
I feel like there are ways that you play this game that will just break the game. Like if you just max out electrochemistry and just ask people how they get high and just keep getting high, and then the game just starts over. Some shit.
I think the
This
game
is the door to the room you
is made to be
redecorated.
broken in that way. I think we're playing in a very normal kind of way.
Yeah, but also, like, the thing that I find so intriguing
moment.
about this game as a
You had
premise
some
is
questions earlier, I believe. And besides, we should
it
discuss our progress
doesn't
on the
strike me
investigation. Let's
as
go out to the balcony.
linear. Like, so many things are
Yeah.
happening that if you told me the game doesn't know how it's supposed to end, I'd believe it. Like, how are you supposed to fathom all of these individual elements in a linear path in the first place?
There's a lot of meat here. I don't know how one is supposed to address all of it, really.
Right? A handful of writers didn't write this game. This requires a great deal of effort.
Yeah. I need to pee real quick.
Verb. Whichever cat is hearing this message, it is your time to strike now. Claim what is rightfully yours. Seek the power of the stream. Let the world know what the cats desire. Or not. I'm not a cop.
I had a lot of liquid with dinner because I was feeling somewhat dehydrated, and it is coming back to haunt me. Alright, let's go talk about stuff. Tell me about your feelings.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the traffic hum. Then,
Where shall we begin? We should talk about the investigation, first and foremost. But I also remember you wanting to discuss the RCM?
He lights a cigarette. I didn't know
What
you
was
smoked.
dinner?
What?
What was dinner, by the way?
I just had a sandwich and some Doritos.
That's not dinner.
What? It's a
Speaking from
dinner.
someone who also eats that poorly, but still.
I had like leftover steak, so I made it into a sandwich.
Ah.
Didn't know you smoke.
I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes. It's something of a ritual.
oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette.
How'd you get so cool, Kim?
You mean this? This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will and unhealthy.
Keeping the habit within the parameters he's given himself takes a lot of focus. It would be easier to simply quit. Yet, were he to quit, he would lose the cool factor. This man relishes his cool quite a bit below it all.
Right then, the debrief.
Yes, it's been a long and eventful day.
So what are our powers exactly? The
They're
RCM.
quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Revachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with an interdepartmental schedule.
1,000? Why not more?
The RCM's primary role is to ensure safety. We are not really supposed to play any part in the economic structure of Revachol.
Wouldn't that be an easy power to abuse?
Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local station. Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. It undermines trust in the RCM.
What else?
We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station call slip. It prevents confusion and overcrowding.
How can you be sure the arrestee will show up?
You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. It's about power projection. Thus far, they seem to mostly show up.
I see. And if someone resists?
We are permitted to use whatever force we deem necessary, even lethal.
Have you ever killed anyone, Kim?
Yes. The last time was 4 years ago.
Wow.
He says it matter-of-factly and moves on. He has internalized it well. It's just that. A fact. A self-contained past event.
Have I killed anyone?
That's an improbability. Perhaps even impossibility.
Of course you've killed people. It's somewhere down there, melting in all the drink.
I probably have.
Precinct 41 is known for a higher than average rate of police violence.
What
Okay.
happens to the people we convict?
We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Courron and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them.
And who makes all these rules?
The coalition government and the moral intern more broadly. The RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Now we attempt to maintain that order. No more, no less.
His gaze is absolutely fixed on the window below that just moved up.
Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Revachol or the coalition government founded the RCM.
Let's say it was the coalition government.
It's probably more honest, yes. Either way, the Moralinton leases us the right to keep the peace in this city, and they will take it away if we misuse it.
The Moral Linton, what is it?
The Moralist International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed.
If I didn't know, which I do. Be rest assured, I definitely do know. How would you describe them?
There are a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, EPIS, most intergovernmental organizations in the world.
What do they believe in?
What do they believe in? They are Dolorians. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Day 4 centuries ago. Others say they are just technocrats.
Or, in a sense, the pains of God? What the hell?
What is their symbol?
Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion, self-discipline. I think you can gauge what they want you to think of them from that.
Something ominous. Something even a little feminine. But in a strict manner. Something like the dark blue, serious color of the early night sky above.
Who is Dolores Day?
A historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for opinions. The subject of humanism is too abstract for me.
For you, she is something painful, though it's hard to say why.
What do you think of them?
The moral intern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts until they change. And it doesn't look like that's about to happen.
It is more than that. There's some kind of affection in him.
You like the moral intern?
Yes, I did, when I was younger. In my 20s, I considered myself a moralist. A blue forget-me-not, a piece of the sky. They're not all that bad. But the years have changed that. I don't know what I believe in now. No, I believe in the RCM. That's enough for me.
I have an opinion on the moral intern.
Do you?
Things are bad out there. We need them here giving us the right to police Rivershaw. They've done an awful job here. Have you seen the place? This isn't humanism. We are stooges of the world's biggest bourgeois organization, protecting bourgeois rights. Immigrant...
Jesus Christ.
Immigrant liberal kipped fucking men are turning into women. On second thought, I don't have an opinion. Forget about it. My goodness.
Don't misclick.
Boy.
Does this game have a moral system? Will the game like suddenly continually apply a moral edict to your play if you decided at this point essentially to become a conservative?
I'm not sure. I think it a lot of it has to do with the like brain things.
Mm-hmm.
So like you know, we have Mazovian socioeconomics, which is about
So when you
building
like
common
successfully internalize a thing, does it change? Does it just give you stats, or will it like actually like change your alignment?
I don't know. I don't think there's a formal alignment. It changes your stats. It gives you some things. This one gives you experience every time you choose a left-wing dialogue option.
I see.
We are stooges of the world's biggest bourgeois organization.
No. We are stooges of the world's biggest bourgeois organization, protecting the people of Revachol. That's the hand we were dealt. Without the MI, we would be common vigilantes.
Yeah, vigilante sounds bad.
Sadly, it is what we already are to the people of Martinez, most of them at least, especially the Union. Vigilantes. I expect our job here to prove quite challenging.
The lights of the orphan district are reflected in his glasses, the red and golden orbs of the motorway sliding like pearls on a string from east to west as Revachol commutes back to the suburbs. Tomorrow is Tuesday. Monday is over.
How do you think today went?
Well, we inspected the victim's body, so that's good. It was not easily approachable in that state, but we did it. Our inspection could have been more thorough, as it always can. but we have some leads we can follow up on. Then you shot him in the chest, which wasn't ideal, and we still have to get him down from the tree.
I admit I'm a little out of practice.
Being sober also tends to help with precision. But moving on to the interviews, we conducted an interview with Everard Clare. He wasn't particularly forthcoming with useful information, however.
I'm sure I can get him to tell us more. He's a tough cookie, that one. I'm a little intimidated by him, honestly. He has stuff on me.
Claire also helped you, how should I say, remember your name? That's a relief.
Big relief. Very serviceable name.
Moving on. We didn't talk to the Wild Pines rep. We really must do that tomorrow. Above all, though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot. Is that a standard Precinct 41 practice?
I wonder if that changes if you don't run.
I have a really good theory about why you're running so fast, son. Just you wait until we get up tomorrow.
The Jamrock Shuffle.
Part of the Jamrock Shuffle.
It's impressive, especially for a man your age. And in those hills. Nice shoes, by the way. I like the green. Goes with the orange.
The dying lights of the city shimmer below. Slowly, like luminous clouds, they pass on his lenses. The lieutenant looks at his slim cigarette, contemplating the next drag. This soldier is the highlight of the day for me. He thinks,
Audio glitch demon.
this little stick right here.
They really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different in land, in Jamrock and the GRIH.
Why are they like this?
It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the Union, to the company, not daring to come here more often. This place has fallen between the cracks, the jurisdictions of our two precincts.
And in Jamrock and the GRIH?
We run this city. West of the river is RCM land.
He looks at the dark silhouette of the equestrian monument cutting into the night sky.
It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization works. Our systems work. If they didn't, the city would disintegrate.
I hope our investigations will help improve the situation here. At least do some good.
Me too. But I wouldn't count on any drastic changes in our lifetimes.
He is very tired, but the dark circles under his eyes make him look younger, not older.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go.
Bum, 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 bum. Okay.
The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours. The sheets look awful. The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes.
Ew.
And then sleep doesn't come.
Oh, good. Love it.
Wow, you tried your very best. Tough
And
times.
then sleep doesn't come.
But I want to sleep.
Obviously, you're in bed with your eyes closed, but it's not happening.
Why?
Maybe it's the bed's fault. Its synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. The pillowcase smells oddly. Smells of alcohol and sweat. And grease.
What about the blanket?
It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This is your body here, intimate and warm, breathing, a bit tense in the muscles. Relax. Under your thrumming eyelids, you see a dizzying array of colors. You won't get off this carousel quite so easily.
Roll.
It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is still trying to solve the case, isn't it?
Who killed him? Who?
Something to do with, what was it that the lieutenant said? Union? And it's gone again. Your thoughts lost between the slowing brain waves.
No more thoughts. Fall asleep now.
Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and images start forming.
At first I couldn't sleep, and then I was like, maybe I can think about who did the thing, and then I get to sleep? Fuck you, game. Dream time.
What?
Time for hallucination.
Wow. It's like a disc. Hey, look, it's me.
Wait, can't you climb the tree?
Apparently the supports are quite dangerous.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood?
What is this?
What it says on the can, Harry. Answer the question.
I remember nothing.
Do you remember your wife's hand on your face?
You said who?
Do you remember the warmth of her thighs between her legs and in her mouth?
Alright, cool. I think I was
what?
left.
That's right, funky baby. And you just stood there. One hand on the bottle and the other on your dick. Watching her go. Let it all be dragged away from you. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours?
I can get it all back. I don't want to come back.
They were only cramping your descent into the abyss. Now they're gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. All of it. You failed. You failed me. You failed Elysium.
What is Elysium?
Everything. The Pale and the Isolas on the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years of written history. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people, and you failed every single one of them. You really fucked up.
I've talked to you before.
No, Harry. You were just talking to yourself. That's all you ever do, even in your dreams. And the act is wearing thin. The spots on the disco ball fade around you. You'll be back in those cold snakeskins in no time, sweating up the bed.
Love my ancient reptile brain.
Stinky boy.
I can come back from this.
You're not coming back from shit. Thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours, bumping into things and acting like a clown? Who are you kidding?
I'm trying to solve this case.
You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin, sleep-like state. More glass than velvet, grinding in your head.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of new type of hangover.
There's another type?
Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too. So soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork. Barely let you sleep at all. Time to get those clothes on, Harry. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
This is incredibly depressing.
Yeah, this is I'm sad.
Like, this took the kind of like
Go,
overwhelming
buddy.
ennui of the noir genre and decided, how about we just apply it to somebody naturally pitiable? And I don't know how I feel about it because it is impeccably well written, but I'm kind of fed up with jaded detectives.
Yeah. Is that how it's gonna be now when I close my eyes?
Yes. Wait till you see the one with the chick in it. It's gonna be a good one. You feel even worse this morning than you did last night.
What chick?
You don't know? You don't know? Some broad that messed you up. It'll come to you. It always does.
What the hell is going on with me?
You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think.
No, that's not it. Really, I feel super good. This is just you, like, telling yourself
That's
to feel
not
great.
really true. Your heart
I'm
has
fine.
finally pumped all
I
the
didn't get
speed
any
out
sleep
of your
last night, but
system,
I'm good.
Buster. Time to get some more. Don't do that. Stay strong. The hangover will wear off. You don't need to keep doing this to yourself.
I am not going to go.
Are
with
you
this
sure?
speed.
Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week. Let's be honest, 2 weeks. Maybe 3. You won't make it. Half the town will be dead by then. You will be fired.
That's a lie. I can do this without the speed. Half the town will be dead.
Suit yourself, slow, sad shell man. See how you do without your spark.
Well,
As someone who has a lot of feelings about the television show Elementary, the idea of being compelled by your brain to take drugs. So there's a lot. A lot.
brain say drug. Jaded is a soft word for Harry. Harry is shattered in his strip.
God.
He's like a glass vase that you just tipped onto the ground.
I mean, yeah, Harry is very broken. But, like, the game constantly asks you if you know that you're broken. And you can tell the world yes. And the world will still
Morning.
go, but you can't do shit about it, though.
Looks like we can get to work at once.
I'm like, why?
The union muscle turned
Why
up.
can't I
They
just
look
be
rowdy.
better?
We should talk to them.
Are these the men Gart told us about yesterday?
I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep.
Oh, you had a rough
It's
night's
them by the
sleep.
looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the manager said. One loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own terms.
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you decide is fine by me.
Yeah, the skill point. Yeah. I do like that the higher your physique is, like the higher your physical stats are, but at the same time, like the higher your drug brain is. What should we take? don't know what to do with this skill point. We could honestly just keep patching our like bad skill.
Also, I noticed something and I wasn't sure what it was. Is it that some of your intellect and psyche skills, whenever an action occurs, they just roll themselves?
It seems like it.
Because then there's probably benefit to like always have more dots in your mental skills than your physical skills.
That's true.
Because those will just
Well,
always activate and probably
there are
give you
certain ones
better
like,
insight into things.
There are
I mean, you need
there are certain ones that that roll automatically as well, like perception and reaction speed tend to go off pretty frequently.
Oh.
Uh, at high levels, reaction speed makes your twitch reflex freakishly good. However, when your body acts before your mind, innocent situations can turn bad fast. You're high-strung, overly alert. At low levels, though, you won't be the one shooting first, which probably means you won't be shooting at all.
Mm-hmm. That's another, like, I keep thinking about these mechanics in terms of, like, how interesting they would be in a tabletop space. Like, imagine, because you have high decks, sometimes you will just sometimes you just perform actions thinking they're the ideal action in a circumstance, and you just make the situation worse.
Yeah, well, that's like
Like the
this
like the GM tells you. What's that?
This specifically, hand-eye coordination. At high levels, hand-eye coordination makes you deadly, supposing you have a weapon in your hand. But once you do, hand-eye coordination will compel you to take the shot, even if it's not the best approach.
Yeah. Like, imagine you're playing a tabletop RPG and the GM tells you someone within your range of vision looks at you sternly and then reaches into your pocket. And then you just shoot a guy, and then the GM tells you, no, he was never a threat, he just murdered a man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything here would be interestingly catastrophic in a tabletop setting. And I kind of want to do the thing, but I'm sure this is like proprietary in a way that would get someone sued for copying.
Yeah. What do we do with this skill point?
I say put it in drama, but that's me.
Drama.
Drama or authority. That's just me. I think you need the ability right now to seem more significant or more charismatic than you presently are, to get into some future engagements. But this is me not knowing anything about the game.
I see. Okay. Well, let's take some authority then. Let's see. What do we got?
Especially since everybody that you've met so far knows that you've been unconscious for a while. Excuse me, I'm dying. Oh no.
Time to look in the mirror.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression.
Dig deep into your mind to locate the source of the expression.
Like the rest of you, it comes from a bad place somewhere in the past. That's all you know for now.
Delightful.
Let's see, where are the chain cutters?
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, the chain cutters slip out of your hands as you attempt to twist the faucet into place. Well, you know one thing for sure. You've probably never been a plumber.
Alright then. So much for that.
Delightful.
Just a moment.
She's agitated, judging from the way she keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
And there's no public phones nearby?
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad to see you again, dear.
Good day, ma'am. Everything alright?
Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working. The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there. Or to the phone booth down the coast.
Yeah,
And
what's wrong with the
Gary's phone is
phone
dead too. The manager was vague about it.
Why would he be vague about phone problems? This is something to look into later. Ask God, maybe.
Alright.
To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing, and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel.
Has your husband gone missing before?
That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully.
A cold breeze hisses through dense thickets of reeds. Something sweet in it, somnolent. A damp chill goes down your spine. When you look around, you're still in the whirling in rags.
But you have more important things to worry about.
What is this expedition your husband was on?
Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extremely rare species of insect.
Says you're a cryptozoologist's wife here?
But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the water lock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. What could be keeping them?
Wait, who's this Gary person? Do you trust him?
Oh, sweetie, it's nothing like that. Gary's as loyal as they come. I trust him with my husband's life any day.
You mentioned traps. Could there be some problem with them?
I doubt it, sweetie. The traps aren't big enough for humans to get caught in them. They're for the insect. Anyway.
Do it. Find him. This will surely lead to a mystery with that extremely rare insect.
Cool.
Are you sure we have time to go chasing after bug hunters just now? I did suggest we play it cool, but...
Just a little side thing. We'll do it down the line.
If you say so.
Oh, thank you, officers. Truly, I'll be right here if you come across any sign of Morel.
So your husband is some kind of scientist?
Oh, yes. A zoologist. A cryptozoologist, to be more precise.
It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban legends.
That's one opinion, yes. And people are entitled to their opinions.
She's used to playing off such insults casually, but they still affect her.
My apologies, ma'am. I did not mean to undermine your hobby.
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that many assume them to be extinct or even fictitious. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless, and frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are rarely interested in supporting real research.
She's completely internalized her husband's struggles. They are her own.
Tell me more about Morel. Looks, character, your relationship.
Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin.
What does your husband look like?
Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work, but he's quite gentle.
It's always a challenge to describe the person you know best in the world.
Let's try again. If I were trying to meet him on the street, what would I look for?
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman's description.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case.
How long have you been married?
We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more somehow.
How did the two of you meet?
Via dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident, and he'd just divorced. We hit it off, and, well, here we are.
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later.
I hope I've been useful.
Tell me more about this rare insect your husband is looking for.
Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating. But I shouldn't bore you with entomological minutiae.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
No, I want to hear about the insect.
Well, it's a phasmid, technically, but...
Oh, yeah. Here comes the interesting.
Where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. It disguises itself among the reeds here on the Insulindian coast. Hence its name, the Insulindian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering the phasmid with us, officers.
There's a touch of awe in the way she enunciated the creature's name.
I knew it. We're gonna be chasing made-up insects with cryptozoologists.
It's not made up, officer. I can assure you. It's simply elusive, so much so that most establishment zoologists doubt it exists at all.
What makes you think the phasmid is around here?
Well, some teenagers making out in the reeds saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect that looks like the reeds. Gary sent us the clipping.
So a newspaper clipping is all the evidence you have?
Of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insulindian phasmid perfectly, and they didn't even know what they were looking at.
Enthusiasm has wiped the worry from her face. Her eyes sparkle behind her glasses.
You seem really excited about this.
I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the Insulindian phasmid. All scientists have their little hobby horses.
Is it dangerous?
Not at all. Why else would it hide itself so carefully?
Is it valuable?
Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie.
Does it have cool powers?
Yes, it can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it's stayed hidden all these years. Centuries, even.
Okay, so what's so special about the stick bug?
Oh, dear. I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. It is very special. Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure.
Alright, tell me about some cool cryptids.
Sometimes the most charming thing you can do is be reasonable in your requests.
Could you tell me about one? Just one more research encrypted. The Insulindian Phasmid was great.
I suppose you could use a break, and I could use a distraction.
One cryptid, like you said. One. This can't turn into some kind of cryptid extravaganza. We have things to do.
Okay, Kim, just one little cryptid, I promise.
He nods and assumes a waiting posture. Cryptids, cryptids. Let's hear about all the interesting cryptids. Ooh, tough choice there.
What's the biggest cryptid? What's the tiniest cryptid? What's the most dangerous cryptid? Is that a cryptid on this pen you gave me? Are there any invisible cryptids?
The gnome of Jeroma.
The Gnome of Jeroma? That doesn't sound too bad.
Oh, it is. None of its victims survived. Grieving relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue.
What does this cryptid look like?
It was reportedly a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead and an ungainly little thing. Quite scary to look at. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. They were scared and wrapped it in tarpaulin to suffocate it. It still took the Gnome of Jeroma an entire day to die.
If the body of the creature was found, why aren't there detailed illustrations of it in science textbooks, confirming the existence of this very little species?
Alas, the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde, thinking that would detoxify the gnome's venom. Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss for science.
What's the biggest?
Hey, you promised you'd only ask about one cryptid.
Okay.
I'm glad you see it that way. Did we have anything more to do here?
Okay. No fun allowed. Let's see.
Can I help you? Got the 20 real? Good. You got the room for the night, but remember, you'll need another 20 real tomorrow.
How could anyone forget, asshole?
Goodbye.
Don't you also have to ask Garth about the phone?
Let me handle this. Detective disorientated. Are you still wondering where you are?
I guess we should do that at some point.
This is Martinez, in case you've forgotten. I advise you not to overstay your welcome.
You're the gardener.
No, I am not a gardener. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? You think he has information that will help you? Maybe he does. That's Titus. Talk to him, but know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming, nothing official. The District of Martinez does not recognize your authority to make arrests.
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest if we have to.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her. You're sure Easley mentioned something about a lawyer, Elizabeth someone, but you're too dumb to remember what it was.
What if I want to talk to you and not Titus? Alright, I should talk to Titus. Two in the chest and down.
Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling-height window. The hawthorn branches scrape the glass like bony fingers.
Squint.
There's a little slide panel up there to let some air in. No need to open it in spring. It's still too cold outside. Nothing. Just black tangles like the hair of an old woman. motionless. The wind in the yard doesn't reach the hawthorn, nor does the light come in from this window.
This is where you say you're a bit.
A broad-shouldered man points at you with a beer can. My guy, it is 8 a.m.
Detective,
We need to talk about the man hanged out back.
Oh, this is about him. A real looker, that won't.
You're sure taking your time, waiting for him to get ripe and pretty for you, huh?
Oh, he was a real pretty boy by now. Real hot stuff. Letting out that pretty boy smell.
Time to go to work in the shit factory!
Hey, you can't say that. That's my dream.
Easy, boys. These janitors have a hell of a job cut out for them. I mean, I wouldn't go in there for $1 million.
You might want to start asking your questions now. It's not going to get better than this.
Do a head count first. Connect these men to the tracks you saw in the yard. Chances are they're going to match.
Scan.
Starting from the right. Boot size 44. Blonde man. In his 30s. Overbearingly masculine. Sitting on his right. Standard working boots. Size 45 or 46. Eldest in the room. Probably mid-50s. Smoker. Quiet. Across at the other table. Hobnailed working boots. Size 43. Gang tattoos. Mesk or Sarah Maritzian. In his late 30s, early 40s. A symmetric burn on his neck, resembling the letters Loss Loss. Has he tried to burn it off? Leave that life behind? And then, standard working boot. Steel reinforced toes. Size 46. The big dick. Wide at the shoulders and lean at the hips. Rugby cap. Fingerless gloves. And numerous scars. A little under 40. The emblem on his vest says Rowing Club. A little patch below it reads T. Hardy, Captain. In the far corner, standard working boot. Steel reinforced toes. Size 44. 40-something. Non-alcoholic beverage in hand. You squint. Is that a plectrum?
What is a plectrum? And the little guy?
Size 41. With the light step. Not a child, after all. An older man with a rat face, mean, watery eyes, and 2 front teeth missing. In the middle, heaving and wheezing. Big guy. Boot size 46. Deep marks. Probably carried the victim over. He, alone, is 130 kilos. Add the man in armor, and you could easily exceed 220. In conclusion, these 7 are the actors on the crime scene. The footprints were theirs, but there's a discrepancy.
One of them is missing. The odd soul?
Exactly. You've stood there for about 4 seconds, not saying anything. Hit them with questions. Where's the 8th Hardy?
The fuck is with you, fella?
I found 8 sets of footprints, but there's only 7 of you. Where is the 8th Hardy boy?
What are you talking about, madman? There's no 8th Hardy boy. There's 7 of us and we're all here. Or what? You want to be the 8th Hardy boy? We ain't hiring.
Actually, boss, we've been talking and we think she could maybe...
She? So there's an 8th Hardy and it's a Hardy girl? Who might it be? Elizabeth? The gardener?
Shut the fuck up, Glenn! I do the talking here. Now what the fuck do you want, cop?
So let me get this straight. There is an 8th Hardy boy. It's a she, and you don't like us talking about her?
That's right. We're not talking about this. This is a private Hardy Boys matter. Nothing to do with your shit. End. You're not cops here. Don't go digging around if you don't want a bullet in the back of your head. I'm watching you.
Good. We are all watching each other. Officer, your question.
There's no point in pushing it further, he thinks. This is already a victory. We'll learn more about this 8th Hardy sooner or later.
The man hanged in the backyard. Did you do it?
The pretty boy. You guys really love talking about that pretty boy.
Funny. But my partner and I have a serious matter to discuss with you.
Why are your boot prints all over the scene?
You mean these boots?
Yes.
We all got a pair. We wore them the night we took the pretty boy out back and hung him by the neck.
As he speaks, his fists contract, going through the pulling motion again, savoring it.
Yeah. We did this. Together. All of us. Until he was dead. That's why our prints are all over the scene.
There's a catch hidden somewhere. He didn't confess so that you could take them all away. It's too simple.
But there's a catch.
There is no catch. These 7 honest men have all equally come forth to tell you what happened, so that you don't waste any more of your time.
You murdered him just like that, no remorse?
How many people have you sent to the Shays? Ever felt remorse for them?
Ha, joke's on you, I can't remember shit.
Or send them to Reunion to rot. For 20 years. For life.
Honestly, I drink so much I can't really remember anyone I've sent behind bars. What we do is different, we enforce a lot. You just kill people like it's nothing. Look, I'm just doing my job, that's all. But these are all bad people. Criminals, scum of the earth! Just doing my job.
So you are just a simple, well-meaning man, eh? Ever been in solitary? Prison is a charter. That's what it is.
He's clearly been in solitary confinement, and at a young age, nonetheless.
So is hanging a man, slowly, without breaking his neck.
Who called the shots that night?
Are you deaf? There will be no singling anyone out. You can't arrest a Hardy boy without arresting all Hardy boys. Do you think you could do that? Do you think you could arrest them all?
I don't have to. One of them was more complicit than others.
That's for the courts in Les Jardins to decide. Not for the officer making an arrest. Which we all know you won't be. What you can do right now is go back to your station and write a report.
No. We'll stay here and discuss what happened that night.
When did this hanging incident occur?
You don't have to keep answering his questions.
I know, Lizzie. Relax. We killed him last Sunday night. Seemed like a good way to end the week.
How long have you known the victim?
Known him? We don't associate with scum like that, asshole.
Yeah! Who do you think we are?
Quiet. He came around about 3 weeks ago when that Pines cow first sailed into town. Happy?
By the Pines cow, you mean the representative for Wild Pines? The shipping company you are striking against?
No. I mean the Pines cow. The stupid-ass cow they sent in to fuck us over. But you know what?
Why don't you ask her about the pretty boy? I'm sure she has interesting things to say when you ask her hard enough.
That's enough insinuation for today, Titus. Officer, your interview is drawing to an end. Don't waste your last questions.
Why did you kill him?
Why? 'Cause he was worthless mercenary scum. And he stepped out alive in my town.
So he was a mercenary, that's it?
And he stepped out of line.
What kind of mercenary?
The kind that shows up when you start a strike. The experienced kind, too. Had Cohoy and Semenine written all over him. Ex-Oranese Special Forces.
A live grenade, right here in our bar.
This one has a special gripe with him coming here.
I can't prove it, but I know he was sent by the Wild Pines. They hire merc shit like that. Story of every strike from here to Samara.
Right, but what did he actually do wrong?
Wrong? He harassed women, raped one, harassed workers, threatened to kill some as a warning.
There's slight unease in him, suddenly. He regrets mentioning the rape.
To kill us all, if we don't open the gates, if we don't let the scabs in, if we don't bend over. And that was before he started coming here.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite joint now. Started to come in here every night. Drinking, grabbing girls. Grabbed one of ours mid-karaoke, right there on the stage.
He grabbed someone?
Yeah. This girl's on the mic. A beautiful girl, young. Gets into the second verse of Lover Lake. The fucker grabs her legs, starts screaming. Show me your cunt! Why don't you show me your cunt? Then, he gets knocked on the head with a wine bottle.
Wow.
Doesn't even fall down.
Was this the same girl who was sexually assaulted, raped, you said?
Aren't you fucking listening? My man is talking to you. He took care of it. They got the girl out before anything else could happen.
Yeah, me and Eugene got her out. Aren't you fucking listening?
Right, but who did he rape then? This is a very serious allegation.
No. You're not getting the name. That's a Martinez matter. And I'm not discussing it with you clowns.
How did you kill him?
We hanged him up by his neck until he got real still. Wasn't that obvious, Copper?
Didn't they teach you anything at the cop school, idiot?
Joke's on you, I didn't learn shit at cop school.
Can you give us a few more details? Did you muffle him? We haven't heard any reports of screams.
Titus, you don't have to clarify anything.
We overpowered him, dragged his unconscious body to the tree, put a noose around his neck, and hanged him till he was dead and steady.
Then we left him for seagulls, maggots, and you fucks.
Things aren't quite right here, are they? How did you manage to overpower him?
With numbers, asshole. How do you think? You're right, Lizzie. I've done enough explaining here.
No, he hasn't. Not yet.
Where did this overpowering happen?
Weren't you fucking listening? The fucker came to our bar. It happened right here.
Titus is solid as a rock, and so are a few others. But
First, tell me who's solid.
Elaine, who looks like he might be Titus's right-hand man, the least antsy of the bunch. Definitely not his first time being questioned by the police. This little rat-faced fellow is solid, too. Always fidgety, yes, but no change there. Him neither. Mostly keeps to his tomato juice, or whatever he's got there.
This one, he's sweating profusely and has difficulty breathing. They've smartly kept him out of the conversation thus far. Definitely the weakest link in the chain.
A single sentence would wear him out. He can't take the length of the questioning. Keep it going long enough, and he'll crack.
There's something you're not telling me.
Fuck off, Copper.
This one is a stone wall. You won't get more out of them about the night of the murder. Not yet.
Hey you having trouble breathing over there?
No.
He looks up startled, his forehead shiny from sweat. A few coiled locks are peeking out from under his warm woolen hat.
Of course he's having trouble breathing. Just look at how fucking fat he is.
And you guys are friends? Jesus.
Fuck off, Shanky. Angus is a powerful guy. All muscle.
Keep your eye on this powerful guy. Sooner or later, he's going to break like a piece of twig.
Right.
Like what, Copper?
Why don't I just arrest you?
Yeah, lawman. Why don't you?
Not in the arresting mood?
A fearful readiness, like an electrical charge, raises hairs in the room. By your side, the lieutenant keeps his hand away from his holster. You hear the nylon of his coat hiss as he steps closer. Easy. Walk back from the provocation. They're armed, and they outnumber us. The lieutenant tries to establish eye contact with you, while the little rat-faced man reaches into his sleeve. There's a knife in there, Some of the others reach for their belts. Their eyes are light.
Easy now. Let's just talk.
Wise move. You made the right choice there. Now make another one and get the fuck out of our booth. We're not gonna do this again.
So what are we going to do now?
Nothing. Your investigation here is done. Leave Martinez, go back to your stations where you belong.
I think we're going to stick around, thanks. Some things don't add up here, Titus. I've done this job for long enough to know that people don't just confess to first-degree murder, even if it is a group responsibility. We're going to look into this.
Good luck with that. You've heard everything a rent-a-cop is gonna hear from us, real law officials. You're lucky you didn't get a beating.
The music of this
Yes.
game is kind of weak, though.
Let's see.
You see several packaged raincoats fill a low shelf beneath a display of croissants and juice bottles. The raincoats are transparent, except for the big Fritta slogan on the back.
Here you go. Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything.
Does Fritta have a warehouse in the back of the whirling ranks?
A warehouse? I don't know. Maybe. I don't really care what Frit does.
This is important.
She scrunches up her face into an expression of consummate adolescent skepticism.
Fine. Frit doesn't have a warehouse. Just a little back room here. Okay?
Interesting.
This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, "Whirling in rags." With a well-oiled crack, the lock pops open. It should now be possible to simply raise the lid. Don't. Maybe you shouldn't. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste.
Hooey!
We're just in time. This hasn't been emptied for over a week.
Look under the boxes of cartons.
You see milk and egg rest with one broken egg in it. Some pasta wrapper. Picking up the soggy packages somehow feels familiar. You've done this before. The movements are recorded in your elbows, the methodology in your fingers. You're used to this.
Die for... There's so much.
A box falls into pieces in your hands. Batiste Soleil cereal. There are plastic pasta packages below, and turbo noodles. Nothing of note, however. Among the threadbare kitchen towels, something catches your eye. a pair of denim trousers. As the legs of the slime-covered jeans begin to unspool from the garbage, a rank corpse smell fills the air.
The victim's clothes? Cadaverine odor is faint. If these belong to the deceased, they were removed when he was still in the early stages of decay. Drop them in here, officer. Guitar marked blue jeans. Pockets empty or emptied. He wore them with a belt, too, a white belt. The loops appear stretched, but the belt is missing. That's it. Do you see anything else in there? I have another bag here.
Something slimy catches your eye. A drab, long-sleeved shirt, olive-colored, appears from the food waste, dripping with pus.
This is a military-type overgarment. No label or serial number. This is the kind of rib-knit shirt that's worn over light armor to conceal it in an urban scenario. Anything more?
The rest of the rags are just kitchen variety waste. A yellow old mug that catches your eye. But other than that...
A thrown-out towel on a mug, that's all.
All right. We should go to Gart again and ask if he knows who put the clothes in the trash. It could be as simple as someone from the hostel cleaning the yard. Or that one. I'd advise against confronting that force.
Think someone from the whirling might have been involved, maybe?
Not really. All we know is the victim's clothes are in the trash. The lid was locked, and his establishment had the key. It's just a small loose thread.
Yeah, we need to ask the kids who put them in here.
The fuck's he on about? Kids? You hear that, Kuno? He thinks you're an infant or something.
See?
The lieutenant nods, then looks back into the trash container. It's just organic waste, cold and slimy on your hands. Apple and potato peels, mostly. Unidentified sludge, and the occasional chicken bone thrown in for good measure. But hey, nothing. It's nothing. Nothing more to see here. What's this?
What?
A blue piece of plastic sticks out from the apple peels. It's shiny. Looks like the corner of something. They look badly damaged, but you can still make out forms and notes, written in a man's handwriting.
Officer, is that your paperwork?
I don't know what this is.
It is. Look, the plastic has the RCM street grid on it. You've even got an autopsy form in there. If you don't mind my asking, how could you have let your paperwork end up in the trash?
I think I didn't want to be a cop anymore. That's why I tried to flush my cop life down the toilet.
Well...
His eyes express a rare condolence. Then he picks it up.
Lucky we found it. You should take stock of what remains, just to be sure some has not made it into the hands of the RCM's adversaries. Organized crime and the like. There might have been police secrets in your notes.
Okay, I'll do that.
It would also not hurt to start taking notes on the case. Now, tell me what your eagle eyes see. Or are we finished?
The mug.
You pick out a broken mug with an oddly racist depiction of the yellow man frolicking in saffron.
Wow. An antique?
Only in its social sensibility. The container sounds a muffled gong.
That's one thing off the list. I think we got it all.
Katsuragi will remember that.
Well, we got a new skill point.
Jesus Christ, this game is actually quite disgusting. I get... So this is one of these, like, interesting kinds of points where you ask a question about what media is and does. Like, I know that this game does not condone the things that are happening in it. But why do the things happen in it with such neutral beauty, if that makes sense? Why are things just allowed to be grotesque? Why ultimately does this otherwise unobservable mug that you're just going to sell for like 4 real exist? Why does the game take pleasure in people being cruel and in the universe itself being dismissive of your protagonist? Like, what is that in service of? And if it is in service of nothing, why is it present?
It's a good question, and I do not know the answer.
It's like, I've been thinking about that a lot in the question that people have about like media in general. Like, a handful of people have been like thoughtfully asking on Twitter, well, can you really like what does it mean that people's engagement with critique assumes that um you can tell what someone's like personal feelings about the world are by the work that they consume. And ultimately, the thing that is occurring in my brain is I'm not necessarily assuming the kind of person who would enjoy a thing, because anyone can enjoy a thing. But I'm asking if the game is presenting this thing neutrally, what do you learn about the thing? And if the thing that you learn is either meaningless or cruel, can't I make a judgment about why you learned that?
Sure. I mean, I think just kind of with my current experience with the game is it is very willing to explore just like a very hostile space. Like it's very noir, right? In the idea that you are a broken man trying to pick up the pieces of your life in a sense, or maybe just trying to spiral out of control. The world is very clearly kind of representative of a vision of our world, I guess you could say. I've seen some people talk about how Disco Elysium is kind of about like the failure of revolution in many ways, and the kind of hopelessness that comes from that. It's hard for me to say because like this game is very big and I am not that far into it.
Well, yeah. I mean, part of the issue I think I'm having is how large the game is. Like, I'm still not sure how it's supposed to be a linear experience. But I guess I'm just curious, like, at the moment, it seems like the goal is to tell what is otherwise, like, noir played straight. Like, no one is trustworthy or trusts you. The world is dark and grimy on a regular basis. But then at some point you also have to ask, well, why is this protagonist here other than the fact that they've lost their memory and that Kitsuragi is following him?
Yeah, I
like,
think
what is their impetus at this point?
Well, I think what's interesting is that this game, I think more than a lot of other games with like amnesiac protagonists, seems to be about kind of like what it means like to be a person in a way, like just the fact that you can kind of assert yourself in such specific ways. Oh, I didn't want to talk to you, sorry.
Like, very curiously, the thing about amnesia in a lot of media overall is, as an adult, this is your opportunity to remake yourself. This is your opportunity to finally decide what kind of person that you are. But you're also playing a character who can therefore decide to be a decent, healthy person. And then the literal embodiment of the universe says, no, you can't do that, you're a piece of shit.
Perhaps. I just like being awake for the
Maybe give a
transition
point some
between...
hope.
Sure, let me have a look.
Tell me
Anything
I have a
else you'll
chance,
think when you're
please.
selling?
Where'd that racist mug go?
Yeah, sell the fucking mug. Is the mug important? Oh my god. Wait, scroll down or something, I guess?
One sec. Pretty much it.
Another time, perhaps.
Where did it go?
Oh, it's interactable. Interesting. Okay.
Do you have to look at it before you can sell it?
This broken-eared mug somehow made its way into the Whirling in Rags dumpster. It depicts a person of Samaran descent frolicking in a field of saffron flowers. Bucktooth and grinning feeble-mindedly. It seems to be a cheap knockoff of some colonial-era antique.
Brilliant.
It's just a racist mug. What's there to read here? Not much.
There's quite a lot to read into here, actually. Look at all that content.
Oh boy, here we go. What are you going to say about a broken, tossed-away mug that you dug out of the garbage?
This mug is an example of prejudice. I'm going to use it as an example of what not to do. I'm going to push this into the face of every merchant I find and tell them this is your inane ideology. The mug will be useful. By denouncing it, I can earn political capital to mask my badass hustling, i.e. fraud and embezzlement. The mug didn't belong in the trash. It was just a funny mug. Can't anyone laugh anymore?
Jesus Christ. Even the correct answer is very jaded.
Yeah.
But it was in the trash. Why not just call it out when you see it? Or do some volunteering work. Just finish your case, detective.
I like that the mug is talking to me. Damage ledger.
It's the ledger you found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of white and yellow papers hanging from plastic board, barely held together by a metal clip. This sad display is made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner.
Tasty. Anything else?
There's a piece of toilet paper, or is it cleaning tissue? No, it's toilet paper, desperately sticking to the back of the blue plastic clipboard. It's a metaphor for you. Below the pathetics, terror. Do not look into its blue heart.
Inspect the toilet paper.
It's just toilet paper sticking to the back of the plastic clipboard. You can take it off if you want.
Maybe it's kitchen tissue. They look exactly the same.
If you want it to be kitchen tissue, it can be kitchen tissue. It's not though. It's toilet paper. Still wet, the toilet paper, I mean kitchen tissue, sorry, peels off the plastic easily. All you have to do is shake it off your finger and voila, the ledger now looks marginally better.
This is like one of those things where like it gives you a sense of just like how big this game is.
Mm-hmm.
Like this little aside here assumes that you have chosen oh my brain
For you
hurts.
to get to this, like the text here assumes that you have gotten to all of the asides leading to this point. But this is an aside. Like how much writing was necessary? Like the part that I'm curious about in particular are all of these like separate coded instances, or do when you get into a line of questioning, does that just have one instance that attaches all of the related syntax for previous questions that you've asked to the next answer? Like, am I following a very long chain where somebody had to add all of those individual questions, or is this one chain that is constantly at like revising how it gets to its next point?
I do not know. I do know that there are apparently 1 million spoken words in this game.
I believe it, which is even more interesting when you consider that according to IMDb, a great deal of the voice cast has never done voice acting before.
Wow.
Which obviously tells, because there are some points where I'm like, that's not what that was supposed to sound like. But the fact that it's like it's not bad as a result is actually quite impeccable.
An aluminium block runs the width of the board, biting down on the paperwork. Its crocodile teeth are the only thing keeping the papers together. A regular pencil, the tip worn down to nothing, has been attached to the clip.
Run your finger across the aluminum.
The surface is interrupted by a silvery sticker. It's rectangular, sparkling with iridescence. You don't know how you didn't notice it before. Looks like an official mark, made to be low visibility outside the right circumstances.
Hey, Lieutenant, what's this?
What? That thing. It's a halogen watermark. We use it for adding information to RCM property.
Oh, interesting. What kind of information?
It depends. Aside from an anti-counterfeiting stamp, mine has my station number and address. The information varies by date of issue.
How can I read it?
Any capable light with the right wavelength will do.
Like, for example?
All RCM vehicles have headlights designed to reveal halogen watermarks. Mine too.
This means you can read the watermarks if you just turn the lights on.
Okay.
While a bunch of sodden papers sag from the clipboard in your hand, it's a sorry sight.
Wow.
They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol, and covered in dense blue handwriting. Ink escapes into watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages. The paper itself is checkered, with faint red lines, forming short paragraphs. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files, commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty. You count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in your hands. They appear to be sufficiently organized and extremely dense, if mostly illegible.
What is in there? What are they about?
Work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter. These are handwritten logs of investigations dating back to January 51, this year. The exact number is hard to estimate, due to missing pages and an odd naming convention. But there are at least 20, maybe 30 cases, undertaken, not completed, mind you. What do you mean? Is that all?
That's it?
The notebook is annual. It says 51 on what remains of its cover. A molten strap of cardboard. Everything prior to this must have belonged to a previous volume. In short, there was more. Judging by the creases on your forehead and the lines on your cheeks, too much more. Going back years, decades even.
There was mention of a naming convention here?
Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. Each investigation has its case number written on the margins. Yet, still more tellingly, most are accompanied by a name.
Oh my, and they're written in capital letters too.
Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Another yet, The Unsolvable Case.
More?
Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the hookah parlor. Even the rare article-free collapsing tenement. Murder features prominently throughout. You like this grimy murdering, don't you? It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close.
Kim, my cases appear to employ some kind of naming convention.
You mean the alphanumeric? Officer, precinct, time of arrival at the scene?
No, I mean a non-numeric one, with titles.
Oh, you mean the titular? Yes, well, so do I. In our defense, almost everyone in the RCM does.
Why is that?
It's a holdover from the early days of the RCM, right after the revolution, when the organization had little idea how to do things. It persists in an unofficial capacity. Officers use these titles to refer to their work among themselves.
I seem to have a case, I seem to have named a case the Square Bullet Hole Murders.
Again, in your defense, I seem to have named one, the man with the hole in his head. That was a real person. His death was real. Still, I named it that, to amuse myself. I pray his loved ones never find out.
What happened to him?
Rail spiked through the head. He died. It was a
Look, it's Phineas Gage.
Yeah. Well, he died, though. Which isn't to say that Phineas Gage didn't also eventually die. He most certainly did. I have to open an official case. Is there room?
There is, for precisely one more. 15 pages near the end remain untouched by the damage. The checkered grid forms a structure of passages, breaking the case into subtasks to accomplish.
What? I got this pen from a conversation like 4 hours ago.
The tasks you've completed flow out of the kind green ape pen in a brash freehand similar to the rest of the letters. The wording comes easily. It's almost robotically simple, a language developed for mental rigor and simplicity.
This kind of implies that we were like pretty decent at our job.
Inspect the victim's body. Get the body down. Interview the cafeteria manager. A satisfying slash sounds across the paper. You're done, it seems to say. And you, and you. You're a swashbuckler with that pen, Harry, and it feels good. Feels like completion. Things to be done and things already done. The composition of reality. This is an extremely useful tool for a detective of the Citizens Militia. Now all that remains is to name the case.
Lieutenant, have you by any chance named our case?
No, actually. Any ideas?
The Hanged Man. The Furies are at home in the mirror. The setting sun. Shit on a stick. Actually, I don't have one. What do you think?
I mean, there's an obvious answer. But I'm a poet, so if you put the Furies in a line of text, I'm already going to gravitate to it. But just do the Hangman, or say you don't have one.
Actually, I don't have one.
Oh, well, then maybe I can suggest one.
Go ahead.
The Hanged Man.
Thanks, Kim.
Wow, game. Wow, game.
Solid.
Game.
Thank you. I think so too. Good and normal. I'm going to start calling it the Hanged Man. It's good we sorted this out.
You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers.
Okay, game. On that
They're a
one,
little
I'm
further
gonna
from your
bounce,
nose
because
now.
that was a lot, game.
Alright, good night.
Jesus.
Browse the yellow paper.
In the back, you see thin, translucent copier paper. Some
Have a
neon
good
yellow,
night,
some
everyone.
bright red,
Good night.
all covered in boxes.
Enjoy
like
the rest of
marching
your
armies.
mystery.
These
Bye.
look like official forms, waiting to be filled out. 3. The topmost are misconduct fines. The middle ones are station calls. And the bottommost are field autopsy forms. Each is easy enough to make sense of. A monetary penalization ranging from 20 to 250 real. Severe cases allow for 1,000 real, but that requires special paperwork. The details of issuing these fines are spread out over the rest of the fields. These are quite sinister in turn. They give a date and time for the person to appear at the specified precinct police station. Below the call are the criminal charges you risk by not appearing. All in a print so small it could be considered downright cute. A dozen pages of thin copy paper, bright red in color. You see the parameters of a deceased human form waiting to be filled in. Age, sex, condition of internal organs, color of the irises, predation marks, condition of sexual organs. Yes, all that remains now is to fill those forms and hand them to people. Fines for wrongdoers, interview requests for bad guys, and field autopsies to dead guys. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being sandwiched between the board and the rest of the paperwork must have spared the fragile copier paper. It's made of dark blue plastic, hard enough to beat someone to submission with. The edges are rounded, however. The U4 size board feels thick and heavy in your hand. Light shimmers on its wet surface. On the back, you see the embossed letters, RCM, blue. The blue heart. Don't look into it. U4-sized pages hang. The acidic stench of rotting food is rubbed off on the cellulose. It now forms the base of the experience. This base surrounded by a faint air of spoiled meat, the stuff of death itself,
tasty.
and then sprinkled liberally with the citrus zest of toilet cleaner. You know, like the bits they put into public piss bowls, probably called Fermi Discrete, or Axel, or something. At some point in its journey, the ledger has seen the inside of a public toilet.
I know. Sylvia already told me I dunked it in the toilet.
If you knew it was dunked in the toilet before getting chucked into the trash, why are you sniffing it?
The option to sniff was there, so...
So you wanted to get in on the trash toilet stink collab. Find out what happens when those two get funky together? Okay, pal.
This is getting weird and hostile. Sorry, Nose. Let's just move on.
Your nose is somewhere between grateful and resentful. It's proving to be harder than expected. You just don't have the intellectual rigor to patch the quilt back together. Try again later.
Okay. Sounds like a plan to me.
Good morning to you, officers.
A burly man hangs out by the waterlock, carving up a generous serving of salami with an old hunter's knife. His eyes are fixed on a man stranded on the other side of the waterlock and on an enormous billboard that has fallen down into the canal between them. His posture is relaxed. Despite his powerful build and a knife in his hand, this man resorts to physical intimidation only infrequently, if at all.
First things first, what are you doing here, man on the waterlock?
My friend Barry the Butcher is stuck on the other side of the waterlock. I'm keeping him company and eating his salami.
From the corner of your eye, you see a man in a yellow shirt and grey overalls waving at you from across the canal. He seems disappointed about the wreckage on the waterlock and the salami.
Not the salami.
Very good stuff. Anything I can do for you, officer?
The man on the waterlock picks the skin off a slice of salami and takes a sizable bite. Do you know what caused this wreckage?
I wasn't here to witness it, but those look like tire tracks on that sign. Weird, huh? Then again, plenty of daredevil drivers in Rivershoal.
The words daredevil driver sound ominous to you.
Too bad it also takes a year and a day to repair anything around here, especially a waterlock. The rest of the coast is closed off till then.
Do you know what's further down the coast?
Well, there's the fishing village, an abandoned fish market, a bizarro church. Not much use to the congregation, though. There always seems to be something wrong with it. Yeah, not really much else. Just bombed out ruins.
Can I have some of that salami?
Sure thing.
It is salty, it is savory, it is chewy. The hangover only makes the salami more tasty.
Want some too, officer?
Why not?
The lieutenant ponders the offer for a moment, then decides to go for it. He takes a slice of salami from the man and chews on it. Right. Goodbye.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and...
All right. Ready? I turn, you press start. It's next to the preheater.
He's downplaying his excitement. The lieutenant is more than happy to show off his precious carriage. The dashboard lights up with orange glow. The rounds per minute gauge jumps, and the engine of the Caprice Canema comes to life with a whiny growl, like a leopard waking from its sleep, yawning and roaring at the same time. The lights unfold with a little click, casting electrical light onto the ground before the vehicle.
There you go. I'll turn them off from the remote once you're done. We just need to stand in front of the machine now.
In the morning light, the white on blue police livery on the motor carriage cannot but catch your eye.
Wait, why am I even thinking about this? Wasn't I supposed to...
Do something important? Something murder-related? There's always something important. Doesn't mean you can't take a moment to admire this piece of machinery. Even at a standstill, the unibody Caprice Canema looks sleek and dynamic. The cabin is tilted frontward to give it a more aggressive, hunched look. Someone has waxed it recently.
The machine really puts the loco back in locomotion. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. You want to take a closer look?
What's it packing there?
130.
I reckon that's a 7-liter V12 there.
That's what? A 7-liter V12?
7.2. Supercharged.
The lieutenant is trying to suppress a smug smile, unsuccessfully.
Saying these words brings him immense joy.
A fine machine.
Yes. An extraordinary machine.
It's nice and all, but why so modest? Put some zing into it. Flare it up. Slam it down.
Okay.
Anything else?
As you hold your ledger's clip under the headlamp an iridescent hologram appears. A street grid and the veins of a great river. A familiar sensation washes over you.
There she is. Revachol West.
Around the borders of the watermark are dozens, no, hundreds of micro-perforations.
Look at the street grid.
The rectangular watermark is overlaid with the logo of the RCM, and yet the major arteries of Revachol are all recognizable. They shimmer in the Kanema's headlights.
Wait, look around you.
A rat brazenly darts past you and disappears amongst the stopped lorries. In the distance, a child somewhere shrieks. A woman reprimands her in a voice no quieter than the child's cry. In the middle of a broken plaza, in a cone of light, barely visible in the daytime, two men, one slim, the other sturdy. They are on the city stage, but only one of them knows his lines.
Ah, Martinez.
Where are we on this?
Let me see. Right here.
His finger near the top of the map on a segment of coast jutting out into the ocean. Seems nice.
No, it does not.
There are many of them, and they are divided into 3 separate rows. The first row has 18 dots. Not bad for what? You don't even know what it means yet. The next is the longest. It runs all the way around the border, and then some. There are so many, it's hard to count. More than 150, at least. Maybe even 200. The last row has 3 perforations. As you look at them, you feel your index finger reflexively contract 3 times.
This is something I've done before.
And something you'll do again before this is all over.
Hey Kim, what do all these holes mean?
Those are perforations. They represent your record as an officer of the RCM. They are your statistics, as it were. I should have guessed you'd keep a record. Officers often do. Let's take a look.
Son, here is where we score your life performance. You better hope it's good.
The first row represents your years of service. 18 years. Okay, not bad at all. What did you do before you volunteered?
Wait, 18 years I've done this? Got drunk like a megastar? I walked the land telling whores and liars of the end to come. There are 9,855 days remaining. Probably some boring office job, same as everyone else. I feel like I just went around apologizing all the time. Do you really think I have any idea?
Fair point. Let's move on, shall we? This next row, the one that wraps all the way around, is your number of closed cases. Closed is good. It means finished. You've got, let's see, wow, more than 200.
Is that a lot?
It's quite a lot, even for someone who's been on the force for nearly 2 decades. Usually, clearing more than 10 cases a year puts you in the 90th percentile of all RCM officers.
So you're saying I used to be a super cop? I used to be good. That's some solace, I guess. What's the last number? I don't think I can ever re-become this person. What's the last number? You're saying I used to be some kind of super cop?
Call it what you want. You were a valuable member of your precinct. Now, let's look at the last row.
You know the answer already. The tingle in your index finger gave it away.
Those are my confirmed kills. 3 of them.
That's right. How did you know?
Just a lucky guess.
For an RCM officer, especially Precinct 41, which is in the Jamrock Quarter, it's rather tame. I mean that in a good way. There are certain officers who treat their kills like some kind of ghoulish game. If they do happen to solve a case, it's usually by accident.
It's obvious the lieutenant doesn't think very highly of these officers.
But it seems as though you are, or at least were, one of the good ones. So we have that to be thankful for.
He's sincerely glad you're not a scary predator. Not to say relieved you're competent.
Have you ever killed anyone?
Yes.
It's not a problem for him to state it, however.
How do you handle the strain?
Everyone has their own method of coping. Some more effective or self-destructive than others.
He gives you a meaningful look.
Personally, I find it helps to keep up a few hobbies.
Maybe I should find a hobby.
Why not gardening? You've already got the gloves.
Alright, thanks.
The lieutenant nods.
Right.
Oh my god.
I'll go turn off the lights.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, guess I'll make a proper save. Think I'm gonna call it there for today. Nice, chill, short stream. Yeah.